Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by again. Today, the weather sucks. It's raining hard, snowing hard up in the higher elevations, so I'm not fishing. But today, we are going to be doing a little pre-prep for our next ice fishing trip. I happened to get 2 nice boxes in the mail today, and we are going to go through the unboxing and setup of ice fishing tip-ups.
Start with the little box. What do we got here? So, we got 2 Suffix 20-pound tip-up line. Performance series, apparently. That looks like it's going to be pretty good. 2 of those. We got some leader, some Frost 4-pound, 100% fluorocarbon for ice fishing, highly sensitive fishing line. Ooh. And lastly, we got us some Eagle Claw laser sharp wide bend number 6 hooks. Cool. And the big boy. We have our actual ice fishing tip up. And oh my goodness, we got a second one too. How about that? Well, let's get these unpackaged and we'll go through the setup process.
Welcome to the tabletop. So, I'm going to go through everything that you're going to need to do a basic setup on a tip up, and then how we're actually going to rig it. So the first thing you're going to need is your tip up, okay? This guy here is a HT Polar Therm type style tip up. It's very common. It was on sale, so I thought I'd give it a try. There's dozens and dozens of different types of tip ups. This is just the one I decided to go with. Next, you're going to need the tip-up line. Sheen. There we go. And like I said before, I went with the Suffix Performance Tip-Up 20-pound in the black. You are then going to need a barrel swivel. Alright? Small little guy like that. And it's not focusing. Basically, this is going to be the junction for our 2 different types of line. Okay, I'm going to be fishing mostly for rainbow trout and other such small species, so I'm going with a fairly small barrel swivel. You may have to beef up depending on the size of fish and what type of fish you're going after. Next, you're going to need your leader line. Like I said, I went with the Frost Ice high sensitivity fishing line, 100% fluorocarbon, 4-pound test. And you're going to need a hook of some sort. I went the Eagle Claw laser sharp. This pack came with a pack of 50 in the size 6, and again, it was on sale, so I thought I'd give them a try. And the tools you're going to need, basically you can do it all with a pair of pliers with a set of cutters on it, but I like to have a knife available as well. So, what you're going to do is you are going to take your tip up out of the package. Make sure there's nothing else in there. Here is our tip up. Cool. I'm going to pull the flag out of there. Loosen that off. Pull the foam bit out. This foam guy here was actually inserted in this crevice right here. Okay, take that out, put the guy down so it's like this, and the majority of everything we're going to do is going to be right here. Down here near the base of this HT, there's a little piece of felt that has a sticker on it saying remove before use. So make sure to pull that out as well, and you can just discard those. Now this style of tip up is actually pretty cool because on your top guys here, this is what, these little arrows here are what spin. So when a fish grabs a hold and starts, of your bait, which is way down below, and starts going off with it, the slightest little movement will start to move these. Now each one of these points right here, I don't know if you guys can see, but this has a very, very thin notch in it, and this has a large notch in it here. So that when you bend your flag down, you can have a very, very, very sensitive release using the small notch, where it's just barely a touch. Like there's no resistance and that goes off. Or if you're fishing for a fish that's a little bit more bigger or in more currenty water, or you're just finding you're getting a lot of false flags, you can put it on the larger notch, which actually takes quite a bit more to set the flag off. Another thing I like about these tip ups is that the flag itself extends and retracts. So if you're on a heavy snowpack lake, you don't have to worry about trying to find your flag if you're sitting down in a chair. You can just extend it out over the snow and you can see it when your flag pops up. Now this whole thing here, it's designed to go over a hole. Okay, that's why this guy is round like this. So it's meant to go from 6 to 10 inch ice holes. It's supposed to cover, and it's got a polar therm technology they call it, where it keeps that hole from icing over. So you can leave this for long periods of time and not worry about your hole starting to freeze up again, which I thought was pretty cool. So this is your business end of it. This is what goes down through the ice in the hole, and this is your reel that holds your line on. This is your guide that your line would go through and then go down. So we're going to start off with the Suffix tip up line. What you're going to do, yard it out of the case. It comes just like any fishing line. It has the sticker over the line to keep it in control. Woo. So I'm going to pull that sticker off, stick it on the packaging, unroll it from that, and a good practice to get into is I can see a little bit of line damage right where it was wrapped around that peg. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my pliers and just clip off that end section and toss it away. Basically, we're going to rig this up like you would a normal fishing reel when it first comes out. I am actually going to try, I'm going to come up and through here and do a full knot. One thing about this tip up line is that it does not like to stay knotted. It's very slick. So always make sure to do a good knot and put a safety on it. And a figure 8. Why not? If you can't tie knots, tie lots, right? Perfect. Then we're going to trim the end. Give her a good old tug test. Good to go. Next, we're going to direct the line straight down, and we're going to start reeling. Now you can put as much on here or as little as you like, obviously, but for me, I'm fishing fairly shallow lakes, but I also want to have the option of, if I didn't see my flag go, I'd like to be able to have that fish run as much as it wants. Now, you may notice, I don't know if you guys can see it all too well or not, but I'm actually doing fairly large loops. I'm not doing this tight like a rope around a bail when it's brand new, where it's just edges touching as it's going around. By going larger distances and spacing it out a little bit more, I find that for tip-up lines at least, they don't, like, the line won't sink in between the weaves as much, because side by side it's further apart, so you just get less issues with your line playing out nicely. Alright, so I'm going to continue reeling this, and I will come back to you guys when it's done. Next, we're going to attach our barrel swivel here. So what you're going to do is, I wet the end of our line coming from the tip up. You put it straight through the eye of that barrel swivel. Just like that. Now you got a barrel swivel hanging there. Now this is knot we're going to use is called an improved clench knot. So when you go through, you're going to hold your barrel end, and with your tag end of the line, you're going to wrap it around your main line 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to bring the tip of your line back down, and you're going to put it through the loop that you've made at the bottom. So not through the actual barrel, but through the loop in the end of the line. Now if you were to pull tight, this would be just a regular clinch knot. But from here, you take your tag end of your line here, and you're going to put it through the center in there, and then you're going to pull everything tight down and give it a pull. The reason you tie the improved clench on this is that a regular clench, with the type of line that this is, it doesn't like to hold. So the improved clench gives you a little bit of extra hold. It's like a safety knot for it. Then you're just going to take your pliers and you're going to trim your tag off. Next, we're going to take our fluorocarbon. I tried to get 6 pound. All I could get was 4 pound locally, unfortunately, so this is what we're going to be using. And we'll just pull this out. And just like everything else, it's got the little sticker. Yeah. Pull that off. And then you pull your line out. Now, I like to keep my line on the reel while I do this next bit, just because it's easier, and then I'll measure out my leader length later. So just like I did with the tip-up line, you want to trim that first little end of your line off, just because you don't know if it was damaged at all while it was put into the slit. We're going to take it and we're just going to do a regular clench knot this time. We don't have to do an improved because this line ties up tight the way it is. So you're going to stick it through your barrel. Perfect. Then you're going to go around your 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just like before, you're going to take your tag end and you're going to stick it through the gap in the bottom. Stick it through the gap in the bottom here. Grab and pull. Now with fluorocarbon here, you're going to want to make sure to wet the knot. And you're going to pull it all tight, straight down onto there. Always do a nice little inspection. Make sure your knot is dressed nicely. And then take the pliers and trim the end. Perfect. Now we've attached our line from our tip up to our clear leader with our barrel swivel. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna measure out about, I like to do between 5 and 7 feet of leader. Now trout are fairly line shy, so you don't want to have this big bulky black line hanging around anywhere near them. So you just measured out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and a little bit. Trim that. Perfect. Now this isn't an exact science. You don't need to get your measuring tape out and measure it all up. You just want to make sure that everything is approximately where you want it to be. Perfect. Next we're going to grab our hooks. Open these up. Grab one out. Awesome. So these are the hooks I like to use personally. They're a little bit offset. You can kind of see them twist off. They got a big round for hooking in your bait securely. Obviously you have to debarb them up here in Canada. And this is a number 6. For ice fishing you can go number 4 to number, well, you could probably do a number 2 to a number 8 depending what you're fishing for. I find number 4s and number 6s tend to be the right size for the type of bait that I'm using. So I'm gonna go with a 6 this time around. Now to attach it to the line, I'm gonna use the exact same method as attaching the line to the barrel stud. You're just gonna snag this guy through, pull out some line, and you're gonna tie yourself, helps to actually go through it. So you're gonna take your line, you're gonna go through the eye of the hook, and you're just gonna tie yourself a clinch knot. Two, 3, 4, and 5. Last one. There you go. Take your end, stick it through the loop at the bottom. Remember to moisten your line, and then you're just gonna pull. And that knot is now strong as can be, and you got yourself a perfect tied-on hook. Last step is to reel all of your leader, line, and all that onto your reel here for safekeeping until you go on out. Just like so. And then they have these little holes down here that you can stick your hook up into if you want to. Just like that. And that is how you rig up a brand new tip up. Now, a couple of little tricks that you can have is your guide here. So when you put this in the water, what you do is you'd pull your line off and you'd put it through here and down. Now, to make life a little bit easier for yourself, what you can do is, this isn't welded shut, so you can give that just a little bit of a tweak out and enlarge the gap right there, so that you can then just pull your line down and also pull it off if you want to get it off to fight that fish a little bit easier as you're pulling it up out of the hole. Now that we have our entire rig basically set up here, the basic principle of what this is going to happen is you're going to drill your hole in the ice. This is going to plunk down on top of it once you've baited your hook and sent it all down and all that. You're going to rotate this guy to whatever size you want. Remember, it's either going to be the hairpin or it's going to be the slightly more need to get that flag to pop. I like to go extremely small because trout don't necessarily have a huge bite. You're going to fold your flag over and you're going to align it onto the proper stud. Then you're going to you would extend your flag if need be. Now, when a fish comes up, slightly moves, up comes the flag. And you run on over and you haul that fish up out of your hole. Now, I'm going to be making a video next on how to bait and how to set this, and we'll see if this system actually works. But for now, thanks so much for stopping by, you guys, and I hope this helped some of y'all with your ice fishing adventures. Remember, stay cool, stay safe, have fun. See you guys.